Hello, I'm Hamid, aka H2O. I'm an amateur veteran gamer. My last video I talked about the reasons why you should play Warframe. I went over the basic fundamentals of everything. This time we're going to just deep dive into modding, because modding is going to be the key component to actually improving your Warframe, improving your weapons, everything. It's the mods. So like in other RPGs or MMOs or any kind of game, it's like the armor, the armor with stats and everything else. Well, the stats and everything on all your weapons, the stats on your weapons that you farm for, and the stats on your Warframes, they're all static. They're just all fixed. There's a baseline, and you improve everything with mods. So we're just going to go over the basics. So you've been playing the game for maybe like 5-10 hours. You've acquired a selection of mods, and you're not really sure what are good, what are not good. You may even have done what I used to do, which if I just go to let's just go to a weapon that I know has got any mods in it. So this one. So we're going to upgrade. It's got no mods in it, and you'll probably would have been doing what I do. One of the things where you go to actions and auto install, and all it does is it just puts mods in. It's completely random, really. It's not actually this whole thing of like just putting mods in your weapon and doing it automatically it's not going to get you anywhere. I did that for I think I did that for the first 20 hours of the game. I wasn't paying attention to the whole mod system. And you start dying a lot, and you start struggling to kill things. And that's a problem. If you want to have a quality of life and enjoy the game more, you want to be able to feel tanky or feel tough and kill things efficiently. Made me question like whether I was using the right weapons. Turns out if you mod a weapon right, it doesn't matter what weapon you're using, as long as you like it. You can make any weapon within reason, but you can make any weapon amazing, or do really good amounts of damage. So let's just remove that. So what we're going to talk about is the fundamental mods, the main ones, the ones that you'll get early on, that you'll probably continue to use in the late game. So they're the ones that are worth holding on to, and the ones worth upgrading and investing in. We talked about endo and investing currency into making the mods more powerful, because there's so many, and it can kind of throw a lot of people out. Maybe if they've modded their weapon wrong and all that kind of stuff, and they're wondering why they're not doing enough damage. So we're going to talk about just the basic fundamentals. It's going to be a shorter video, much shorter actually. I do apologize previously if I went on for too long. I have a habit of over-explaining things, but it's only because I want to make sure I'm delivering information in the most precise way possible. Hopefully that appeals to someone. So let's go over the basics, the fundamental mods that you'll end up getting early on. Pretty much when you start playing, the mods that will be dropping, and the ones that are super they're gonna stay with you, and you're gonna keep using them, or you'll want to keep using them throughout the entirety of your Warframe journey. Okay, so let's get out of here. So one of the first weapons, especially a lot of people in the game, a lot of the newer players, one of the first weapons a lot of people will tell you to get, and I could recommend that too, is you'll want to farm for the heck. It's not for everyone because it's a shotgun. You're maining a shotgun effectively as your primary weapon. I got the heck. I was told to get the heck by a fellow player, one of my good friends. And so I got the heck, and I was using it I used it for a good first half of my journey throughout the navigation, doing all the missions that we talked about that in the last video. And I used that for, half the time I spent doing all the first portion of the game. And going to upgrade. Let's remove all the mods. So this is just an example. So this is a shotgun, and because it's a shotgun, it's only going to be using shotgun related mods. So there's going to be a selection of mods that you're going to be getting early on, which are like the key ones, the ones that you want to be upgrading and kind of min-maxing, and they're the ones you want to invest in. You're not going to like be upgrading every single mod, okay? So one of the first ones you're going to end up getting is Point Blank. 90. This is maxed out at max rank. Just gives you a raw damage increase. So let's look at let's just have a quick gander at the damage. So Heck, it does 525 damage, total damage. And everything else is, all the other kind of little things that you see here is all per projectile. So it's a spread shotgun. So its total damage is 525. So these are the two mods. Point Blank to increase the raw damage. So now we're nearly doubling it. And then Blunderbuss to increase critical chance. So it's gone from 10 to 19%. Pay attention to this, because in the early portion of the game, what you want to really be doing is making this number here get as high as possible. In the early portion, like early to the latter part of the game, when you get like halfway through it, that's generally the thing. You want to be looking at that damage, but we'll do another talk on elemental types and element types and status effects. But let's just go over the mods. So Point Blank, Blunderbuss, two of the most important ones. I'm trying to figure out what else you would be getting. Those are the two most important ones. In fact, out of all my early farming, they're the only ones I got. There is, let me just crits. There we go. Ravage is another one. Critical damage. So it's increasing the actual critical damage, so the multiplier. So those would be your bread and butter mods. You've got a common one, a rare one, and a better one. Well, bronze, silver, and gold one. These are the kind of mods you're going to be getting early on for a shotgun, and they're the ones that you can comfortably. Like, you could comfortably max them out. You don't need to worry about like, oh, am I going to be wasting endo or wasting resources, maxing them. You can comfortably max them out. Just max them out, because you're going to be getting lots of different shotguns in the game, and these are the kind of mods that you're going to want to be putting in them for the most part. So there's literally no harm. And then yeah, these are like much higher tier. Some of these are a lot higher tier. That's just a copy of that. And then, but these are like the basics. So we're going to go over the basics. So that's the Heck. Now let's look at another kind of weapon that Dread. Here we go. This is another one. Dread's another weapon that a lot of people get early on. It was something that, again, another weapon that was recommended to me to get. I don't know if I like Dread. I don't really like using bows. I really wanted to just, pray and spray and just kind of mow everyone down, and using Dread felt a little bit slow. But not just for Dread as a bow, because bows are considered a rifle, so they will use rifle mods. It's basically shotguns or rifles. Bows fall into the rifle category. So shotgun mods have their own mods, but then everything else is basically the same. So let's go over the main one. Serration. 165% extra damage. Serration is going to be something that even now I'm using. I'm using after 450 hours or so of gameplay. I'm still using Serration. I have one mod that I've invested credits into and endo into, and that is the mod that I've just been using. You can just have one copy of Serration, max it out, like invest into it, increase that damage. It's only a good mod. What's another one? Point Strike. 150% critical chance. like bread and butter, solid. We'll just do a search for crit, because a lot of it all boils down to crit. So we've got point strike, vigilante armaments. That's another mod that you might pick up early on. Again, a really good one. Anything that increases multi-shot is like key. Like basically what a multi-shot mod does is increase the chance of an extra shot being shot out of whatever you're shooting, which is, it's free ammo and it's also free damage. So you'll find that a lot of people, when they're building, modding their bows, they'll put a lot of multi-shot on it, because that one arrow suddenly turns into 3, you know. So we've got point strike. And you can tell what are the important ones on my screen anyway, because they're all the ones that I've invested into. They're all the ones that I've upgraded. Another thing that you're going to want to look at, and these are some things you'll get early on as well, are elemental mods. Doesn't matter which ones they are early on. If it says like, you know, 10% toxin, 10% cold, 10% heat, just put them all down, because all that's doing, it's increasing your damage by 10%, but using an elemental type. But as you progress into the game, you're going to want to really think about the elements that you apply to your weapons and how you mod them. What else is good? So again, multi-shot, vital sense, critical damage. So another one, vital sense, critical damage. What other ones you're going to get? Terminal velocity, something to increase its speed. That will go in the Excellus slot. As you can see here, there's not that many. Everything else isn't even upgraded. I've not touched them. It's all these. A lot of it all boils down to, here we go, split chamber. That's a mod that you'll see a fair amount of. You're not going to see it really early on, but it is going to be something that you'll start getting later. It's something that randomly drops. It's not, you know, it's not like really rare or something like that. There are certain mods that are super rare, like heavy caliber is not something you see a lot of. But split chamber, you'll see that a lot. In fact, let me just do a search. Split. Yeah, see, I've got 9 more copies of that, and I've already deleted, dissolved into Endo, a lot more copies of that. So you'll see that drop a fair amount. It starts off at 15% multi-shot. So that's another one that's worth investing in the long run. You're not going to be able to invest and level up all your mods in the early game. It's going to take up too much energy in your weapon. It's going to cost you resources. You're going to end up having to put a catalyst in your weapon in order to fit them all in. And even then, you still won't be able to fit them all in. So, but these would be like, these 4, they're the bread and butter. Invest in them. After that, it becomes more about personal preference on how you want to build your weapon in terms of elemental, or whether you want more crit or more raw damage, you know, everything like that. But those are like key. Get them upgraded. Serration is going to cost you an absolute bomb to max out. So I would say best bang for buck, get it to about halfway and leave it there until you've really kind of gained a lot of resources, gained a lot of credit, because I believe from recollection it's going to cost you 1 million credit and like 20 or 30,000 endo to hit max rank with it. But it is relatively inexpensive to be able to get to around halfway, but it grows exponentially as you start leveling it up to the higher tiers. Anything that's got like a lot of those blue dots on the bottom means it's got tons of ranks to level up, and the higher those numbers go, the more expensive it's going to be. So like these ones, by and large, are actually the cheaper ones to level up. You can max them out quite easily, you know, so that's fine. But I would say get that to about halfway. Don't blow all your currency and credit and everything into that. So that's those would be some of the most fundamental mods you want to be starting with in order to be able to start killing enemies effectively. And after that, you start to talk about like min-maxing and everything like that. And then you've got your melee. A lot of people would start with the Skana and the second upgrade I went from the Scanner as a sword. I went to a dual Scanner, so I'm getting 2 swords. We're just going to look at a basic weapon. Let's look at something I know hasn't been modded. Let's just look at that. There we go, no weapons. So with the swords, or any weapon, it's something we touched upon in the Why You Should Play Warframe video, but it's not, I didn't emphasize this enough. This mod slot here is your stance. So you can filter it out by stance. Generally speaking, each weapon type has only got a 1 or 2 different stances. Some have 3. So it's a stance mod. By applying a stance mod, what you do is you increase the mod capacity of it. However, this is an unmatching polarity. So what ends up happening is that when it should be doubling the mod capacity, or like adding, so if something says if this is going to cost 2 energy, it should be giving me an extra 2 energy, provided it matches the polarity. But because it doesn't match, it's giving me half what it should be giving. So it goes from 30 to 31. Because it doesn't match, it's only giving me half the amount of what it should be giving me. This is also going to determine how my sword feels and how it plays when I start hitting my melee button, and will also allow you to do combos. So the second you put a stance in, you'll get this option to look at different combos with how you use your attack. And that is where the game changes. The second you put a stance mod in your first melee weapon, it feels so good, and you could do so much more with it. It doesn't even matter what it is. It could be a dagger, it could be a heavy sword, it could be a katana, it could be a staff. They all they pop off, basically. Stance is probably the most important thing you want to put into a weapon. Now let's look at the most important important mods. Easy, organ shatter, pressure point, true steel, super common. These are like the 3 most common mods. You will get tons of them. They drop all the time. After that, it starts to become everything starts to get a little bit rarer after that. But those would be the 3 main mods. They're cheap to upgrade. You just want 1 copy of each one. Don't worry too much about everything else. I mean, it's worth keeping, I would say, 1 copy that you're investing endo in to max out over time, and then a second copy that you may want to just stick in a weapon just to make it a little bit better, but you don't plan on leveling it up or anything, just to have as a backup. And then everything else you can dissolve into endo or sell for credits. I would dissolve into endo personally, because you can make credits passively. Endo is harder to come by in the early game, so I would do that. What else we got? Fury, attack speed. Yeah, always good. That's another one that's going to be dropping quite frequently. And that's it. Everything else. We can look over these specific ones. These are what called 60-60 mods. So it's 60% is cold damage, and then there's a 60% status chance. We can go over that another time. I would say these are the most important ones. You've got there's no harm whatsoever. You could happily, all the mods that I've shown you, you could get them, max them out. You could do that with Fury as well. I can't fit that in. So it's yeah. You will eventually get Berserker. That's a mod that I believe dropped for me. I think that's a rare one actually. So that's going to be one that you need to actively farm for. There's a selection of mods here that you would need to actively farm for. Weeping Wounds, Blood Rush, Killing Blow. Even though I've maxed this out, this is for a very specific type of weapon, and those are gun blades. Not very common in the game. There's only a small handful of those types of weapons. But the point is, it's just another weapon archetype which is really cool. So yeah, those are the 3 mods for that I would say, and whatever stance that you've got for the melee, those are the 3 that you definitely want to invest in and make them, like, max them out. Same for all the other weapon types. What we got here? This is your secondary weapon. I forgot about that. Sorry. So your secondary weapon is usually like your handguns, your your pistol. It's usually something that it's good at. Usually something that's very good at doing high crit damage, high headshot damage, stuff like that. There's plenty, there's other weapons. So with this one, it's a slow firing single damage weapon. Aim for the head. Most important mods, very similar. So we've got Gunslinger, high fire rate, Pistol Gambit, Target Cracker. So Pistol Gambit, just raw critical chance. Target Cracker, raw critical damage. Gunslinger, increasing the fire rate. And you see what the mods are doing on your weapon sheet. You can see where it's increasing things. If it will turn from green, if it goes from white to green, it means it's an improvement. If it goes from something to red, it means you're downgrading something, you're losing something. What else we got here? So, and then we've got like the raw elemental damage mods. So here we go, Deep Freeze, that's one. We can fit that in there. So it's adding an extra 144% cold, 144 damage, sorry. It's doubling our damage. So Deep Freeze, Pathogen Rounds, Heated Charge, Convulsion. These are all mods that you can invest into over time and make them good. But to really min-max... Oh, and here we go, Barrel Diffusion. That's another one. Barrel Diffusion, 120% multi-shot. So, yes, invest that. Can't fit that in there. Let's take that out. Let's take that out. In fact, I would argue that... Where's damage? Where's the raw damage? Hornet Strike. There we go. Let's take that out. So the 3 main mods for your secondary, like the 3 main ones that you want to invest heavily into over time: Hornet Strike, Pistol Gambit, Target Cracker. These are going to be the first mods that you pick up in the game. Just like the other mods I've shown you, you can comfortably invest endo into these, knowing that you're only going to be improving the damage output of your weapons. And as time goes on, we can talk about all the elemental types. And then then you've got all the. We're gonna have to go over like modding Warframes on a Warframe by Warframe basis, I think, because there's so many variations on how to mod. Just like there's so many variations on how to mod weapons. Like I'm just showing you like the fundamental basic mods that you can happily, like comfortably know in your head that you can invest into, knowing they will always get use. So that because that was an important question I asked to myself. It's like, what's worth investing in? I don't want to feel like 10, 20 hours down the line in the game, I've just wasted a load of resources in something that I'm never going to use. So I just wanted to be able to provide that information to you, the viewer, and hopefully it helps. As I've said before, you can mod everything. So I tell you what, like, shall we do it? Yeah, let's do for your companion. What are the important mods? Regen, enhanced vitality. If Guardian, boost your own shields by 100% when it runs out. This is just protecting you, protecting the companion. So those are really important. I think that's specific. Vacuum, another big one. In fact, that will work on any robotic companion. So vacuum, enhanced vitality, regen, guardian, all really good ones. Just max them out. The weapons are now. Like, I'm not going to tell you what's good to put on a weapon, because I've built my weapon very specifically. just gonna have to like work it out. I think that you could go for raw damage. I personally would say that going for raw damage on like a robotic weapon like this is not going to add huge amounts of benefit to you. You're going to want to. I personally would go for less damage and more status effects to kind of passively boost the my Warframe's damage. We can talk about status effects and all of that another time. In fact, if anyone has any questions or people want to like get kind of talk deeper about something, just mention in the comments box or you know, just ask anything you want, and I'll do my best to either make a video or reply. What else we got? That's it. I think that's it. The fundamentals of which mods to invest into on all your weapons, all your weapon types. I hope that was informative. If you like the video, please like, comment, and maybe subscribe. It is something I want to keep doing. It's not the best, but I want to be as informative and as honest as possible. And if you want to get some live information and want to see people make a fool of me, which is all in all just a big fat bit of fun, it's just a joke. I have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/H2OMFG. I'll put a link in the description. Drop us a follow, drop by the channel. I stream pretty much every day in the evening, UK time, around 7 o'clock onwards. We can talk Warframe, we can talk life, building a nice community in there. So yeah, swing by if you want. And yeah, if you've got any questions, just ask away on either one of the channels. Thanks a lot, guys. See you around. Cheers.